Hi, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the question and find out who you really are. I love this subject, and I imagine you do too, because I imagine you find yourself pretty interesting, which is not a bad thing. It's totally awesome and pretty natural to want to better understand yourself and maybe feel that, much more confidence about what you have to offer. But the thing that's so interesting about finding more about yourself is maybe you can better understand why you have certain habits. Maybe you can find out why you're more of a shyer person, why you're a little more outgoing and like to be around people so much. Maybe you tend to feel a little more defensive in nature, and you can understand why. But the biggest thing that I love getting, and hopefully we can see within your group, is what characteristics can you use to your advantage, whether this be a job, in life, interacting with people, because everybody has something special they can offer that, you're unique, you're your own person. So let's find out what that is, and then you can use it to benefit you. As you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Let me give you a couple moments to do so. Now that you have, down in the description is your timestamp, so you can skip to your group, whichever group you chose. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out who you really are. Let's look at your cards. We have Wheel of Fortune in reverse, Justice card upright, 2 of Cups upright, Knight of Cups in reverse, King of Pentacles upright, the Hermit in reverse, and your Oracle card is Intention upright. Okay, that's a pretty great card to have. Let me pull a card for that one. Page of Wands. Okay. That is a pretty clear answer to that. So, let's talk about all these good things about you. First, let's talk about intention. This is like your power move. So, when it comes to attracting the things you want in life, everybody's got a different method. Sometimes it's law of attraction, sometimes it's manifestation, sometimes it's things you have to do with your hands, sometimes you have to see it play out in a physical world sense for your brain to attach to the idea. Everybody's got a different method, and the best method, I believe, to be able to get the things you want is understanding what is your natural strength. For some people, it's their emotions. You get the concept. Yours is, in fact, intention. Yeah. It's actually quite that easy. The second you intend to, that's what the thing you want. That is where you want to go in life or to have. It's the job you want to be in, whatever. Once that's kind of set and you make that very clear to yourself and the universe and your spirit guides, they all kind of come together and work together. So one that talks about how your spirituality, you should definitely consider kind of like reaching out to your spirit guides, make yourself a little more open to the universe, because for you, they're just kind of ready and waiting for you to kind of cast out that intention arrow or net, however you want to put it, and then to take it and make the rest happen. But it also is a good way of answering if you ever feel like things aren't working in your favor. So if your power is just the simplicity of saying, I intend to get that job, I want that job, I'm going to get the job, that's where my focus is, and you don't get it, you need to be aware that the universe sometimes prevents us from getting something because they're aware that's not what you really want. And you might say to yourself, no, of course I want to, become said profession, career, or whatever. But maybe they know, in a way you don't, that when you actually get to that career or with that other romantic partner, you're not going to be happy. It's going to have a bunch of activities or personality traits that you wouldn't naturally like. You don't know it yet. So maybe when things don't work out, consider changing your intention, even if it's just a slightly different shift. Maybe you can stay in the same career, but you are meant to get a job at a different place. Do you see what I'm saying? This is all about you starting to understand what you truly want thoroughly. So if you ever feel there's any sort of blockage, you can understand and be able to answer that and shift your wants and desires around to then get what you want. So pretty darn cool. Now, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse does let us know that you have some resistance, sorry about that, some resistance to change. This could be small, this could be big. Honestly, who could not relate to that more? Because let's be honest, whether it be small or big, it often takes a lot of us some time to understand, how to get our footing down. And once you finally get comfortable, to see that being shaken up again is annoying. You feel lost again. It starts to make you feel anxious because you're like, no, I just got here. I just figured some things out. I don't want change again. But the problem is that change represents evolution. So it's almost a compliment from the universe and your spirit guides and other good things in life saying you have earned it. If you notice change happening a lot in your life, that's how well you're doing. You're constantly being brought to the next level, the better option. Even if it doesn't seem good at first, if that option you're being given isn't ideal for you, you can either change it or understand that it's a stepping stone that you should speed up in order to get to the next best place. So when we talk about that idea, it looks like your spirit guides are kind of directly, lovingly, sort of asking you to change the Wheel of Fortune around to your favor. Owning it, starting to face it, grab a hold of it and make it do what you want. Run into that change because it's going to happen anyways. And instead of prolonging it, causing yourself more stress, you kind of need to make it work in your favor by running into it directly head on and make it happen even faster. If that's any sort of comfort to you, you can make it happen faster and then get over that uncomfortability quicker. But also, it's kind of interesting advice they're giving you. They're just telling you to do it. And I think it's interesting how you will take that information. Because I can see over here in the Justice card, again, I can see you do have a sort of dreamy nature to you, which is really sweet. But there is a really strong, objective, no gray area. This is the way it is, sort of an analytical mentality. We can see that over here in the Hermit card as well. And I'm sure you're like, oh, so I just do the opposite. It's like, yeah, I'm so sorry it can't be delivered any other way. In fact, it might be the exact thing you're unaware of is the answer, right? Sometimes it's as simplistic as that and almost as flowery and dreamy as that. Plus, if it's any sort of help or comfort, sometimes we have to face things that are uncomfortable and they don't get any less comfortable, but we can make it a little easier for us by, working with it. Doesn't mean anxiety is always going to go away, but at least, we can make it work to our advantage more. Hopefully that wasn't too long of a ramble. So the Justice card. The Justice card shows us how fair you are. You love when everybody is doing things the right way for everyone else. Not in a control kind of way. You like things to be even. This gets repeated here. This is super important to you. You love equality between friends, acquaintances, romantic partners. This is really important to you. But it's also something food for thought to think about. So have you ever found yourself in a position where maybe you were being judged or considered judgmental? This is when you ask yourself, am I judging things too harshly? Sometimes the world isn't always even. Sometimes people aren't capable of returning back an equal amount of affection or attention or effort as we had hoped. And sometimes that's just the way it is. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. Or, and this is something important to keep aware of, or are you judging them correctly? Are you considering the important things in life? Because that's not a bad thing to say, this is what I want in life and this is what I'm hoping to get back. It doesn't mean you can't get that. So pay attention. I'm not getting any cards that imply you have bad intuition. So when you feel that sort of conundrum pop up in your life, ask yourself that. Am I being too harsh, or Am I receiving sort of gut feelings that are telling me maybe this isn't the sort of interaction or social or romantic relationship I really want to dive into? You know what I mean? But another positive thing about this is it talks about the equal exchange between cause and effect. This is really great. This speaks positively about your karma. It looks like you've got a lot of good karma you've worked up. You've done a lot of good things, and that's awesome. You're being acknowledged for that. But it's something to consider when you really want something. The amount of effort you put in is the equal amount of reward you will get back. So if you ever want more out of anything, we're talking about tangible things, spiritual things, and relationships, so on and so forth, consider making more of that effort, because that, again, is another one of your natural strengths and how the universe likes to work in your favor. We often create the world around us. That's how you think of the world, so that's what the world returns. Why not use it? Think of it whenever you feel stuck. Can you try a little harder? You know what I mean? Now, Two of Cups. This is awesome. So I can tell you're romantic, which is cool. But the Two of Cups talks about how much you benefit from a romantic partnership. You can't explain it. You feel you are able to enjoy life more. You feel like you get more out. You feel more out of life, and you feel more fulfilled by just being with somebody who you can truly build a partnership with. We're talking about equal exchange, everything. Again, like this: equal effort, equal romance, equal respect levels and acknowledgement for what one another has done. When you find that sort of partner for you, it's like everything just seems to just fade away, all the problems, anything else. You tend to soar and do really well. I'm surprised you didn't get the World card in here, because the World card can often talk about when somebody is very successful and then you meet someone else and you share that success with them. Your success sort of doubles and triples and continues to bloom. I don't see that here, but I'm not saying that can't be the case, and definitely something to think about. And if you feel that when you're with romantic partners and you're not getting that back from them, who cares? Go find the one you were meant to be with. Why not have the ultimate version of life? Because if you don't have this, this is where you're happiest. That's all I'm saying. Now, when we're speaking about romance, we have the Knight of Cups over here. This is saying a few things. This is talking about how much you absolutely love to show your affection to your partner. And these are very sweet, very direct ways of saying, like, I care about you, I love you. This is like holding someone's hand. This is cuddling. This is just telling them regularly how handsome or beautiful you think they are and how much you care about them. It's really sweet and shows how well, you're just a cutie. But it's also telling us another interesting thing to think about when you're when you're in a certain situation. So this shows that when sometimes things aren't going well for you, you redirect your energy to kind of almost a laser focus to something else. So if a relationship doesn't work out, you kind of more focus on how can you get that person back and that person in general, rather than realizing, well, you're hurt. And why didn't that relationship work out? You know what I mean? It's almost like a masking of the sort of problems. Or if something's stressing out in your life, you sort of become a little more codependent on your partner. None of these are bad. There's no criticism towards this. It's just an awareness that when you're doing these things, for you, it's a defense mechanism. Again, not a bad thing. It's not bad to have a defense mechanism, but it's also really rewarding to kind of understand how we work. And again, maybe figure that out and again use it to our advantage. So when you find yourself kind of leaning more towards it's like redirecting your attention somewhere where you should actually be paying attention to the opposite, if that makes sense. When you feel yourself guiding in these directions and doing that, you need to say, why am I doing that? What am I not looking at? What am I avoiding is the best way to put it. Because these are the sort of clues to realize, well, what's the real problem? Because as I focus on this, that's not the real problem. Here it is. I don't even realize I'm pulling my attention away from it on purpose as a defense mechanism to heal and protect yourself. But maybe I should see what I'm avoiding in order to heal through it and open up some more opportunities and better relationship channels your way. So just something to think about. I can see over here in the King of Pentacles, you have a great business mindset. This is awesome. This is because you have confidence in what you can do. This is like on a practical, like this is about discipline and patience, but it's also about abundance. But the thing that's awesome about the King of Pentacles is you find a lot of joy in your general workplace, especially business. This is all about when you have a job you love being there. You love just being in the thick of it. It's like, some people want to get to the destination. When it comes to this, you're all about the journey. You love seeing all the money you've made, but this also talks about generosity. Once you have it, if you are really connecting with someone at the time that you're earning a lot of money, some of your first thoughts when interacting with them is, oh, I like them so much. Maybe I'll get them something like a little present, or I'll get them us concert tickets or whatever. That's the kind of thing that goes through your mind. You love doing it, you love sharing it with other people, and it's just a pretty wonderful, positive thing. I do want to notice an interaction I have going on here. I just want to point out. This talks about your what's it called? I'm totally forgetting. Creativity, like the way you express yourself, but we're talking about in a creative sense, not verbal. And the King of Pentacles is talking about communication, verbal type of stuff. And this little interaction going on here, it looks like you're unaware, so there's a sort of disconnect, that if you combined this form of verbal communication and this kind of creative expression together, this is like one of the strongest ways you can earn money. Now, obviously, that is a huge pool of many careers encompass that, but a good example would be somebody who is a curator and they're going around to potential buyers and explaining all the different art around the place. You get what I'm saying? It's a natural fit for you career-wise. And the last thing over here is the Hermit card in reverse. This talks about two things to keep in mind that are awesome. Well, one more so than the other. You'll know what I'm talking about in a second. The Hermit card says you do really well if you kind of study alone, if you work alone. You can think better. It's a little easier for you. I kind of have a feeling that I'm not getting a lot of feely, lovey-dovey sort of cards, but I think you're just a little bit sensitive to that energy and influence, and you just kind of want to block everything out and just laser focus, and it's the best way you can achieve whatever goals you're working towards. But this can kind of give you a little comfort. It looks like there is a tendency when you're alone for too long via, working on these different activities, you might get a little lonely. But don't worry, you're not alone. These are temporary feelings. It's just a reminder that you're like, oh, I'm starting to feel lonely. I probably should go hang out with some friends or go do something that will make me feel better. Just acknowledge that, and then that way you won't. Because sometimes when we're caught up in sad or bad feelings, this is not a unanimous statement for all sadness, obviously. We can feel like it's a much longer time period. You start to think, I've always been lonely, and that idea gets warped because they often say that when we're not feeling good, our perception of time gets warped. So no, you're just temporarily lonely. Go do something fun with friends. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it. You're a pretty darn cool person. You've got a lot of clear intentions and actions and things that can benefit you and work to your advantage, and I love that for you. So, if you like this video, consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a beautiful day, and let's get ready for group number two. Group number 2. Let's find out who you really are. Let's look at your cards. We have Page of Pentacles upright. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. 8 of Cups upright. The Ace of Swords upright. 4 of Cups upright. The Chariot upright. And your last card is the Oracle card. Oh, come together. Upright. That is such a cute one to get. Okay. Wow, this is really fun and free-spirited and smart and powerful in a kind of undeniable, always moving forward sort of way. It's really awesome. Okay, let's talk about you, because I get, oh wait, hold on. Ten of Swords upright. Oh, okay, and then the Empress upright. Okay, no worries. Sorry to scare you there for a second. Okay, let's talk about you. We have Come Together Oracle card. This is such a cute card. It's somebody who loves love. You were meant to be put on this earth to express it, to feel it, to share it. This is a lovey-dovey card. It's just simplistic. That's what it means. It's a pretty great purpose and natural ability and skill and thing that makes you really happy. You're just a sweet person who kind of loves unconditionally. We see that actually here in the Empress card, but we're going to get to her later. So the Page of Pentacles upright. The Page of Pentacles upright is really cool. So you have this particular love for starting new things. It is your favorite thing to do when you suddenly discover there's some sort of new skill or hobby. I'm not seeing it here, but I have when I see this, I have a very good feeling this is a hint that you actually are kind of like a jack of all trades sort of mentality. Like you've began multiple sort of fun skills and projects. And by the way, it is not a negative thing to not fully master them. And I'm also not saying you haven't mastered them, but you definitely don't find one thing you love and then just do it the rest of your life. You're always growing and trying new things. A major reason why you do that is you love that beginning feeling. You're never thinking of all the thoughts in the future of what it's going to mean and how much money it's going to make you. You're just right now happy and focused and find a sense of being in the moment when you dive into these new things. It's your way of constantly feeling a passion for life, and that is a really great thing. And you know, if you ever feel like you're in a rut or you just kind of need to get out of a funky sort of mood or emotion, definitely consider some sort of new fun skill or thing you should try doing, because that's where you really thrive and love doing what you're doing. Now, we talk about moving forward and bad mood. This is really interesting. This is one of the most defining traits about you. The Queen of the Queen of Pentacles in reverse is like something not working out. So if you were in a situation, this can refer to bigger subjects like social, a project, a job. If it's not working out, if you're not getting anything back, there's any sort of lacking, not enough resources, you just see that it's not going to work out. You're not someone to fret over it. Oh, no. Especially if you feel there's any sort of betrayal going on, someone's gonna like backstab you in any sort of way. In the Eight of Cups here upright, we can see that you go peace and you leave and you have a just complete comfortability with changing it up, leaving the past behind. That is like the way you love to do things, and something that gives you a lot of peace of mind. This is actually a compliment. I often find in TV shows it's used as an insult that somebody can't stick to things and that they're not dealing with their problems. That's not your issue at all. This is a really great thing. A lot of people struggle to overcome their past. A lot of people will keep themselves in difficult situations, even if they have proof that this person isn't good for them. It's often hard for many people to change and let go. And for you, you're really quick at identifying the problem, facing it up front and going, okay, well, bye. I'll just try something new. You have no fear of it. And that is a really good thing. Because again, that's another thing people, especially as you get older, many people will kind of see, oh, I'm too old, which is not true. You're never too old or too young. You know, why can't you always be being a new version of yourself every 3, 5, 10 years? I love it. I'd love to see it with you, and you are going to clearly continue to do that all along in your lifetime. Successfully always trimming out the negative stuff in your life and successfully confronting it real quick, going, oh, I don't like that, and moving on. This is a really good thing. So continuing with that idea of progression. I also forgot to mention that the Page of Pentacles does signify a love for self-improvement. That gets exhibited here as well. But listen to how cool this is. This is like something I find very charming about you. It's really cute. The Four of Cups upright is just kind of a bored mood. Some people would describe it as a bad mood. You're just kind of not really happy with your surroundings or something like that. This is when you feel this way. This does not define you as a characteristic. So you're feeling this way. You know, we all go up and down with what we're interested in life, and, you know, nobody feels passionate all the time. Except for you. I will say you are quite active about it. It looks like when you are in this sort of mood and position, you have a way of kind of almost confronting yourself as like a second. So here's you and here's also you. Maybe the part of yourself that's like your inner cheerleader, so to speak. And you love to confront yourself with two wonderful things. The Ace of Swords is like new ideas. You love to be stimulated mentally. This is writing and reading. You just love thinking new thoughts and thinking of new concepts and hypotheses and so on and so forth. You just find a lot of happiness in that sort of mental thinking. You love your brain to be stimulated, and you love having ideas, and you'll start to go put those into action. You're very proactive with making concepts come to life. So you're more than just a dreamer, you're a doer too, which is really beautiful. But then you have this energy over here in the Chariot. This is really great because this is like very intense, fast, hard-hitting, power, speed, sort of energy and movement of making something happen. This is the way you approach fixing problems in a relationship. This is the way you fix your heading in your dream. You know, when you first try out some sort of project or try to make it a career, we often come with a lot of obstacles or things in between. Not you. You punch through them and you're like, I'm going to make it happen no matter what. But the cool thing about the Chariot is this is not reckless type of mentality. This is somebody who has a plan. They are just extremely focused and relentless. You are somebody who's almost by default we're being told is an optimist, because it's not, there's no reference of you having some sort of what's the word? You know, when some people are just not acknowledging the negative stuff to a point that it's sort of a problem and you kind of have to face those things sometimes to be able to handle them. You're not like that. You're aware of them, but your main focus is the goal. And as you focus on that goal, everything else just seems to glide past you like butter, which is a weird mental image. But it's something to think about when you have a dream or an idea. I don't feel like I really need to tell you this. I feel like with you, you definitely already know this. But if you're ever like, I want this, you know, said thing to happen, that's the approach you want. You already know what you're going to do and how you're going to dive into it. You can trust you have enough energy and passion, and you can trust that you will leave it if it's not working. But when we talk about things working out, it's not just your mind and your energy, it's your natural abilities. So the Empress it kind of extends from this idea of come together. It's almost kind of like bringing all of this into one beautiful card. Because the Empress is somebody who represents beauty, so that does show us you are a natural beauty, which is really cool. And you might say, well, this is a general reading. No, there's just something about you. You're the kind of person who redefines beauty every time people see you. You know how often, no matter what your gender is, people tend to kind of every decade have a box that everybody seems to need to conform to. Not you. You're the person that pops up and everyone rethinks, oh, I didn't realize that type of, that shape of face or whatever is particularly cute. But the Empress is somebody who is abundant, but naturally abundant. She doesn't even have to try to make things work for her or a lot of things bloom around her. She can just walk around the garden and flowers are growing at her feet and she's not even lifting a finger. This is also awesome because this is the sort of abundance that is not just limited to financial resources naturally being glided to you. This is everything. This is opportunities. These are romantic relationships. And the wonderful thing about you being someone who is able to naturally have this gift, and you should, and you might say, well, I don't know. No, You do have it. The more you gain that sort of confidence, and I can see that you have a lot of it, and you start saying out there like, yeah, you're right, I am naturally good at this. Start to kind of look around and be like, you know what, I do have above average opportunities compared to my peers. That is when you're kind of harnessing your abilities and powers and allowing more and more abundance to attract you. So definitely take a moment to, like, you know, own your natural abilities and skills. But anyways, going back to the Empress, this is somebody who loves unconditionally. So she doesn't love you in hopes that she'll get something back. There is not a limit to her love. There's a lot of selflessness in the way she approaches relationships, how she asks for things, which is exactly why she gets them in return. Again, another little secret ability or skill and power that you have. And as the more you acknowledge it, the more you kind of like, you're like, yeah, I love that I love. And I love that I love people regardless. And you can trust that you're going to make the right decisions overall. Just kind of own it and let it be like a really significant defining trait to you, because it's going to bring you a lot of happiness. It's going to attract a lot of good things. Definitely keep being your wonderful, continuous, self-improving, master of a million skills self, and just enjoy that you're somebody who's very self-motivated and confident. You're smart and intelligent. You've got great energy. Like I said, you're kind of a little force to be reckoned with. I don't know why I said little, but my spirit's showing me like a smaller sort of figure. So you're like a booming little force of energy. Unexpected. That's the word I want to say. Spirit's showing me. You're unexpectedly more than people are aware of. They don't anticipate until they really get to know you, like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. So very cool, very awesome. I'm so happy to kind of meet you in a way. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number three. Let's find out who you really are. Let's look at your cards. We have 5 of Cups in reverse, King of Cups upright, 6 of Wands upright, 5 of Wands upright, 8 of Cups in reverse, 6 of Wands upright again. Okay, that's very important. Interesting. And I can actually see why it is. Your last card is your Oracle card. Oh, Solitude. Okay, this is actually a pretty comprehensible spread to read, so I'm just ready to jump in. So I'm picking up major, big leadership energy here going on. It's intense. It's what you were meant to do. Don't question it. If you feel shy, too bad. You were destined for it. So let's, where do I start? I guess I'll start here. The Solitude Oracle card and the 5 of Cups in reverse tarot card go hand in hand. 5 of Cups in reverse talks about when you're overcoming some sort of disappointment, or maybe this could be a breakup, this could be any sort of pain you're going through in your life. The way you overcome it best is through meditative acts. Now, these meditative acts are alone, and they can be something like chilling out in a hammock. Maybe there's an activity you like to do that's just very peaceful. You're not thinking. This is no mental stimulation. You're just hanging out, and you're almost in a trance. This does highly talk about meditation being kind of the ultimate answer for you. And I can even be more specific and say void meditation or transcendental meditation. They're actually quite similar. The only difference is transcendental meditation is about focusing on one singular word that you're saying over and over and over again to kind of put you in that trance. Void meditation is when you think of absolutely nothing. It is a difficult skill to eventually have. You should still try it. You don't have to be perfect at it to get something from it, if that is any sort of comfort to you. But this is when you're totally in the moment. You're not thinking of the past. You're not thinking of the future. Your mind isn't wandering and thinking about activities you're going to do or anything. You're just totally present in the moment. When your mind is clear and that nothingness, that seems to be the comfort you need, because when you're in this type of position, words aren't going to solve it. Logic isn't going to solve it for you. You just need a little bit of time alone, a little time to, pull yourself together, let your energy recollect, and allow your mind to settle back down and find some sort of sense of control through it. So it's just a really peaceful, nice act. And whenever you're going through a difficult time, definitely move towards those type of actions, especially meditation. It will help you out personally a lot. So going forward, I can see why you naturally move towards meditation and being alone when you need to go overcome something, is because, well, you're very popular. You're extremely popular. You don't have to do anything, and you're just a magnet to people. Now let's talk about the King of Cups upright. This is pretty powerful. This is like being so balanced emotionally that it can positively affect the other people around you. So you're a good listener. You're somebody who is able to perfectly understand and pinpoint whatever the problem is or the thing that somebody needs. Just kind of being around them, feeling them, you're able to feel your way to the answer of what they need. It's why a lot of people feel drawn to you. Emotions are important to pretty much nearly everyone. Even people who do not feel like that's their natural way of thinking and expressing themselves. It's kind of hard not to feel affected by this type of, this way of being. So this is beautiful. But it's also, I'm going to give you some food for thought to consider and think about. With the King of Cups, this can often talk about how you have the ability to at times sort of close your emotions off or hold back your own pain in order not to affect someone else. It's quite a selfless card. It shows how much you care about other people, and you're aware. There's a lot of empathy and compassion and thoughtfulness coming from you. Like, you're aware that you're so powerful with your emotions and how you can affect people and interpret people. If you're not in the best place at times in your life, you don't want that to affect other people. But keep in mind, don't ignore those feelings and keep those feelings repressed just for the sake of others forever. You do need to take time to heal it, because if it goes on for too long, you might end up one day and being like, wow, why am I so subconsciously down? Where did this come from? Because after a while, you didn't ask for so long, the answer almost kind of got lost, if that makes sense. Another thing to be aware of is a lot of people are going to be drawn to you, and you will definitely find the desire and natural ability to kind of want to help them all when it comes to that sort of emotional connection and helping them get in touch with their own, because you're just able to navigate it and able to listen in just a above average kind of way, that you'll find yourself accidentally involved in too many people's problems, to the point that if you are not in the right place, or if the number gets too large, that can get overwhelming. For the most part, I see that you handle it very well, but it's always something to keep aware of, that if you ever find yourself having limits, be aware of those limits. Doesn't mean you shouldn't reach out to people. You should. It's your natural ability. I think it brings you a lot of happiness from what I can tell, it being your true being. But be aware of when enough is enough, or when you need to take time to heal for yourself so that you feel your best. Sometimes we can lose ourselves in others. It's again very selfless, but everything needs a nice balance in life, and that's yours. Now, Six of Wands. Let's talk about Six of Wands specifically, because it's repeated twice. It's an extremely predominant part of your personality. This talks about self-confidence. This is just like knowing you're good at something. Keep in mind, a lot of people accidentally mistake themselves for worrying about if they're arrogant or if there's any ego. They don't want to come off, they don't want to come off the wrong way to people. If they're like, is it bad that I know that I'm good at this skill? No, that's okay. You don't have to see that as a bad thing. And if you're so worried, you can let people know your intention, being like, yeah, I'm good at this. I don't want you to get the wrong idea, but yes, I know I'm good at this, which is a good thing. But the thing about Six of Wands is it talks about a lot of popularity surrounds you naturally. because you're really good at being able to lead people because you're aware of what they need. We talked about that here, especially with the emotions, and you're aware of like the best thing that the best course of action for everyone to do. You're good at telling people how the situation needs to be organized in order to then make that course of action or that plan of attack come into fruition. You see what I'm saying? This is somebody who enjoys being social, is very comfortable with this sort of responsibility and thing going on, but something really cool going on here. This is kind of like an unexpected I think I just saw a snowflake. Sorry, I just looked up and I thought I saw a snowflake. Something important here you should consider thinking about is your secret power. You are somebody who easily gets recognized for, what you do well. People often go out of their way to say, wow, I really like that thing that you did. This is something you do very well. Or, oh, wow, did you know it's amazing? You might not realize it, but that is abnormal. Most people aren't given credit where credit is due, and it kind of naturally is attracted to you. But you have to ask yourself, why am I built this way? Why did the universe make me this way? What does that mean for me? Well, that is where your natural strength, your ability to attract the things you want in life, the thing that gives you kind of passion. And it is not necessarily a negative thing if you take a moment to kind of soak in that attention. It doesn't mean becoming, pompous or over egotistical like we talked about. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's all love over here. But when people are telling you did something good, take a moment to acknowledge that. It is okay to sit there and want that. Don't strive for it to the point of obsession where the only way you can find happiness is waiting for other people to tell you that. I can see by your emotional balance, I don't even need to say that, you're aware of that. But don't shy away from it out of modesty and being such a good leader. Take a moment to remember it and let it fill you with excitement and passion and be kind of your sort of fuel. Some people manifest through their emotions. Some people manifest through things they do physically. Weirdly enough, you uniquely manifest through that sort of energy transference people give to you. You naturally attract it, so you don't really need to bring it out of other people. Just be you. But that's your little, power source, and you should definitely use it to your advantage. Now, something really cool and selfless continuing forth, and this is why you're just such a great natural leader. You should definitely put yourself in that position. You can handle, a lot of people would benefit from you for the reasons we talked about. But over here, what's going on over here? Because if you notice, the Six of Wands, it's the version of you that just can't seem to move forward and be super excited about celebrating and having fun and move out of this situation until he's resolved what's going on over here. This card can't enjoy fully what they have earned until this is resolved. The Eight of Cups, again, talks about helping other people and not feeling, and with the interaction over here with the Five of Wands, it shows that if something isn't completely sound body and mind, totally resolved, the situation isn't perfectly handled, it's kind of really hard for you to fully enjoy and keep progressing and celebrating and leading. Like, you're someone who progresses and moves forward like we talked about. We see how you don't let your emotions hold you back. We see how you positively influence people. You want that sense of like everybody doing well around you. You want to give that to them, bring that to them, naturally be that for them. But if you see that maybe a confrontation at work between friends isn't fixed. Maybe an idea there's multiple ideas up in the air and nobody can seem to agree on the one thing you're going to move forward to. If there's one last little thing, it's kind of hard for you to let go. So if you're ever trying to overcome something emotionally, this is also a side topic from this, and you're like, oh, why can't I let go? It's that one final thing set in the air. That's the thing that's holding you back. You like a really solid foundation. You want everyone to do well in order to move forward as a team, if that makes sense. Again, you're very much of the group, of the crowd. This can refer to your friend group, your coworkers, the way you generally socialize with your just people in general. This could be your family. You are truly somebody who is worthy of leading because you lead people for the good. But, you know, there's some perks to it. There's some nice compliments and good things that come with it. Use it to your advantage. Enjoy it. It's okay to know you're good at something because you know what's good in other people. You are a reflection of the people around you, and that's why people want to be around you. Because if you're so awesome, if they're around you, they can be awesome too, which is a really beautiful thing. But definitely don't forget to take some time to take care of yourself. We know how you can do that. Only good things here, and I love it. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe because it helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4, let's look at who you really are. Let's look at the cards. We have the Tower card in reverse, the Emperor in reverse, the Lovers upright, 7 of Pentacles upright, 5 of Swords upright, Knight of Cups upright, and your last card is the Oracle card, Gentle Gardener upright. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, okay. Oh, by the way, if you can hear a squirrel in the background, I live in nature. They can be a little loud sometimes, and they like to kind of hang out around me, which is nice, but if you can hear them, I'm so sorry. So Gentle Gardener is sort of your power play, your manifestation abilities, an important thing for you to know and use to your benefit. But in every single individual trait that sums you up, I see an overall personality characteristic that gets kind of like summed up into one defining idea: duality. 2 opposing ideas existing at the same time, all the time. It's a really great part of yourself, and it's a really positive thing. It lets you kind of constantly understand both sides always and use both to your benefit, because sometimes it's important to come off more aggressive and sometimes it's important to be a little more gentler. You have both capabilities in you at all times. But sometimes when we have that dualistic side to ourselves, it's important to be aware of when something gets a little too intense, a little too extreme, and how it can negatively impact us, and how we kind of need to get a hold of it at times, because it's so important to have that balance within you. It's good to have both sides. You don't need to deny one, but if you feel one is getting a little too, having the upper hand compared to the other one, pay attention to that, because that is the way you thrive best, is having both exist in a proper proportion. So, Gentle Gardener Oracle card. I love this card so much, but it can be a little overwhelming when you think about the concept as a whole, but it's still important for you to know because you can use it to your advantage. So this is about when you're thinking, whatever you talk about, whatever feelings you're putting out in the world, you're creating the world around you constantly by the person you are. So if you say a bunch of negative stuff, that's what you're going to get back. If you're always putting out negative energy, that's what you're going to get back. But when you have all of that kind of in sync, you're putting out the good vibes, you're feeling good about yourself. So it's important to take care of yourself. When you're constantly saying positive things about the world around you, the people around you, you get that return to you in large doses. So it shows how you can kind of start to shape and manipulate the things that you want in the world you'd like to craft, by being aware of how you affect it and how you are coming across. So definitely consider, if you would like a more gentler environment, be a little gentler, things to think about. But this is also really helpful because we talk about duality and how things are going on. If you ever notice your world getting a little tense, things start to happen, what are you doing internally? Or, like we said, it's everything. It's your thoughts, it's what you're saying, it's what you're feeling, so on and so forth. What are you starting to accidentally put out and then accidentally attract to you. So that way, if you're like, ooh, I don't like what's happening recently, start being aware of that because you're in way more control than you mean to. Think of yourself, this is the best way I can put it. You are a mood ring and you kind of ebb and flow as a person. But be aware that the way you ebb and flow can hurt and help you. Now, when it's hurting, now you know how to control it. You can use it to your advantage, and it's a clue to work on yourself. This is kind of the universe asking you and giving you very significant clues to help always put yourself in treat yourself well because it will benefit you overall and benefit the people around you. But also, it can specifically attract the things that you want, and you can kind of hone it and get really good at the skill of it. Definitely think of the law of attraction. A lot of people talk about the idea of like when they want to attract someone around them, they'll maybe only sleep on one side of the bed and park in one side of the driveway in order to kind of put that there. What you're putting out, your actions and so on and so forth gets that back. So I hope that makes sense. So we talk about what we're putting out there and getting back. That gets repeated a lot. We talk about the duality of things. So I can see over here in the Tower card, you do struggle with change. It's kind of interesting because on one hand, the Lovers card does talk about your adaptability as a person. So it kind of seems like contradictive statements. But the thing is, it's both. You might be capable of being able to adapt in the moment to a certain project, whatever they need skill-wise. You know, these are smaller sort of changes in the moment that you flow to very easily, and it's why a lot of people gravitate towards you as a problem solver. But big changes, big issues, they're overwhelming for you. But again, that's not a bad thing. We have over here in the Seven of Pentacles upright. This is like slow and steady wins the race for you, and a great way to better understand when you are moving towards success. It's not going to look the same way for you as it does for other people. So the Seven of Pentacles is like when you're working towards something, but you're kind of not really seeing any sort of change. So after a while you think, is anything I'm doing working? I'm not seeing any sort of proof or getting any kind of recognition. Is this just a waste of time? No, not at all. It does add up. I often get this when people are being viewed or evaluated from a distance. So over time, you get to be known as someone who is, whether that personality be patient or disciplined or hardworking. And then when you eventually get that promotion or that thing that you want, that relationship, that is how you earned it. It's just not during the time that you're successfully working on the thing look that different. So that kind of works out in your favor. You like routine. It's funny, like I said, lots of duality here. Like on one hand, you're very mutable, you can go with things, but you do like routine, you like consistency, you like being able to depend on something from day to day. That's a really great thing. Keep that in mind if you need to find some sort of tranquility in your life. You do really well knowing how your workflow is going to go step by step, timetables. Maybe you don't really like the whole one day you're doing this and one day you're doing that. You like it on a smaller scale, but it's not fun for you to think, okay, one day I'm going to be working out in the field and one day I'm going to be in the office and the next I'm going to have to travel. That's overwhelming. You like knowing every day you were in the office, but in that office environment, you like being able to kind of take that hands-on approach and change up your skill set to fix minor problems. See where that duality keeps getting repeated here? So this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Over here, we talk about the Tower card also representing the idea of long-standing issues and overcoming them and stuff like that. You're kind of getting a little bit of a loving sort of acknowledgement from your spirit guides, because the Gentle Gardener does talk about your spirit guides trying to reach out to you, let you know that your ability is in this, because often when you're this powerful, you're unaware of how dramatically you affect other people's lives, and your spirit's lovingly like, by the way, this information could help. Just wanted to let you know. So the long-standing issue they want you to be aware of is in the Emperor in reverse. This is when you feel what's the word? You like to have a lot of control. Not control to manipulate people. We're talking about having things in a particular sort of way. Maybe you struggle with some sort of like OCD or something, or you feel that a lot of your tension is relieved if you know where things are in a particular way. You're not trying to put anyone down or come across as overwhelming to other people. It's just important to you. It's how you feel a sense of calm and relaxation. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We talked about how you like a day-to-day routine. Your slow and steady wins the race for you. You like a little bit of consistency. That's something that you find a lot of happiness and balance in. So that's where that control kind of comes in. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That makes you dependable. That makes you somebody who is smart, who is able to trust themselves and their environment. And that's a good thing. But if you ever feel that your controlling the environment around you is becoming a little too intense for yourself or potentially others, keep in mind the Gentle Gardener card. When you put this out there, that's what you're going to get back. The more you control, the more your environment wants to control you and potentially control you in a negative way. Because I'm sure as you feel your environment is going to try to put you in positions that you don't want. We talked about you not enjoying that sort of big change. The more negative emotions you put out because you're stressed out. And then what happens? You get more of that back. So this is kind of asking you, when you feel that happening, take a moment, step back, relax a little bit, let go a little bit. So you can kind of gain footing, gain control again. You're gaining control by relaxing and letting go. And then you can kind of go back to this. This doesn't mean you have to give this up forever. But if you notice it getting out of hand and you notice kind of not great things happening around you, that's what's going on. That's important to know. So the Lover's card. The Lover's card does talk about, you love love. That is a wonderful thing. You're definitely romantic. It's really beautiful. But the biggest thing I'm picking up is your just overwhelming love to commit. Commitment, we talked about dedication over here in the Seven of Pentacles, which is really beautiful. I just realized I'm shaking the camera. I'm so sorry. But this is commitment to other people. You're very loyal. You love saying, okay, this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make it happen. This gets actually repeated here in the Five of Swords. This can be a really positive thing that gets carried on through this sort of patience and dedication. So we talked about in the Seven of Pentacles. This is when you're going to make something work or you're going to win no matter what. So this is like, you don't get discouraged easily by having things take a long time. I'm so sorry about that jump cut. I heard the train coming. I figured you guys did not want to hear that super annoying loud sound. So back to the reading. Anyways, but this shows how much you love being able to, say, yes, I have been with someone for a long time. You love showing your dedication. You love defining yourself as somebody that's trustworthy and dependable, especially when things are done over a longer period of time as your form of proof. So, you just love to kind of really make promises and jump into that. Because the Lover's card does talk about promises, which is really cool. But the Knight of Cups does too. Now this is when we get a little bit of that sweet and sour side of you. And it is a great thing. It is not a bad thing. It is your fuel. You cannot have one without the other. Both, it enables the other one to properly exist to its fullest capacity, if that makes sense. The Knight of Cups, again, shows you ready and excited to commit yourself to a cause, to a person. But this is a lot of you showing your affection. It is terribly sweet. This is one of my favorite forms of affection in tarot. It's like holding hands, cuddling, letting people know how much you care about them, especially with romantic relationships. You're somebody that when they have won they're friends with you, you're going to let them know how special they are. And it's a pretty wonderful thing to experience. On the other side, we have the Five of Swords. When you're mad, you're mad. And you're going to let them know it. And you're going to make them sorry that they, crossed you, so to speak. And these kind of dualistic things going on are what enable all of this to exist. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people understand that when there is this more sour side to you and you're treating them well, they appreciate it. Not because they have to win it. You're not a curmudgeon. I'm not saying that. We all have our good and bad traits. It's just that you feel both with such intensity. We talked about your effect around the people around you, that it gives a deeper sense of appreciation when people feel that from you. Or if you're mad, people are going to go, oh, wow, what did that person do to affect them? Because you're not overly sensitive. It's just that, people have to really make you mad for you to kind of switch into this personality trait. And, well, let's just say you can defend yourself well, and it makes people be aware of your power and that they should treat you nicer because, if they have you on their side, you can spread that positivity and love. They can feel that positivity and love. It's better if we all get along is the best way to put it. So, really interesting. I think the biggest thing I want you to get from this reading is never feel ashamed for both your positive and negative traits. You were meant to have both. They were your strength. They give you a bigger, broader sense of understanding people's perspectives, helps you fully understand concepts and ideas. It is okay if you feel like you need to control things a little bit, but be aware of it. It is okay that you like things to take long. It is a defining trait that makes you come across as a very loyal and trustworthy person, and people like that about you. And that is where you find your happiness. But be aware of how strong you are. Enjoy the balance, be aware that there is a balance and one doesn't become heavier than the other. And be aware that your environment is a clue to how you're feeling internally, and you can use it as a great compass to feeling and like your best self and understanding if you're in the right direction and moving in the right path in life. So if you're ever lost and confused, just look around you because it is a mirror to who you are. So pretty darn cool. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!